Hey Vet Science, welcome to our next section of our anatomy and physiology unit. The last section focused on the digestive system of animals, and now we're going to switch gears and focus on the respiratory system, which respiratory involves breathing. So we're going to focus on that for our next section of the class. And the respiratory system is pretty cool. So we'll actually do some fun labs here when we're back in the classroom. Hold on one sec, the phone's going off. All right, sorry about that. I had a phone call. But yes, we're focusing on the respiratory system in this unit. So we're going to go over the anatomy first in these first couple videos, and then we're going to focus on getting some chem standards and then focusing on gases, because gases are something that we breathe in and breathe out. So we'll do some fun math with that, and we'll do some fun labs in class with that as well, and with hopefully some live animals. So let's get started. So our learning targets. I can chronologically outline the events and outcomes of the respiration process. I can describe the function of the organs involved in the respiration process. I can calculate different respiratory capacities when given the corresponding volumes. And lastly, I can demonstrate understanding of the ideal gas law using the formula. So let's get started with talking about anatomy, or how the respiratory system is set up. The respiratory system is passages that transport incoming air to the lungs and to the microscopic air sacs called alveoli. Okay. Respiration is the whole chain of processes from the inhalation of the air to the use of oxygen in the cells. The respiration events are in the chart you find over to the right-hand side. We're going to literally follow this step by step, starting from breathing and ending with cellular respiration. So the anatomy. We divide our respiratory system into two sections, or two parts. The first part is the upper respiratory system. This is comprised of four key parts. First, we have the mouth. Mouth. This is where our air enters, right? Enters and leaves during inhalation and expiration. We can also have air exit and enter through our nose, or our nasal cavity, obviously. Okay, our nasal cavity, where air passes from the nose into the nasal cavity and then into the lungs. Then we have our pharynx and our larynx. And I love saying pharynx and larynx. Pharynx is another fancy schmancy word for throat. Air from the mouth is sent to the lungs through the throat, and the larynx is our voice box. This part of the throat helps air to pass into the lungs and keeps out food and drink. Now we switch gears to the lower respiratory system. Our trachea is the first part of our lower respiratory system, and this is the tube that carries air in and out of your lungs. It helps keep its shape thanks to the cartilaginous rings. Say that word, cartilaginous rings. So that is what keeps the trachea shape, and you can see those rings right here on the trachea, and those rings. Perfect. The lung, you'll have two of them, right? Lungs are a pair of breathing organs that begin right after our trachea. And the purpose of the lung is simply to remove carbon dioxide and bring oxygen into the blood. And we'll talk about blood when we talk about the circulatory system. And I believe that is coming up next after the respiratory system. Then we get our bronchus, or bronchi, and then our alveoli. Bronchus is a long tube attached to each lung that connects to the trachea, and it forms an upside down Y shape with the trachea. And you can see that right here on this diagram. Okay, this is our bronchus. Then these bronchus branch off into smaller bronchi called bronchioles, like a tree, and you have nearly 30,000 in each lung. So you can kind of see these branch off into bronchioles, and they look just like little upside down trees or upside down Ys. Then we have our alveoli, or alveoli. I pronounce this word different every time, it seems like, but the tiny air sacs of the lungs, which allow for rapid gas exchange, and these are located at the tips of the bronchi. So these are labeled right up here, alveoli. Okay. So again, our trachea goes into the lung, and the lung gives way to the bronchus in the upside down Y shape. Then it has little trees called bronchioles, and then on the tips of the bronchioles we have our alveoli. This is an up-close look at the lower respiratory system. Then we have our diaphragm, and this is the muscle between the lungs that contracts or expands due to the expiration or inhalation of air. This causes the amount of air in the lungs to change frequently. So I have a couple of little GIFs that kind of show the diaphragm movement. So you see, as we inhale, our diaphragm contracts. As we exhale, it lowers. We are going to stop there for now. Thanks for watching.